Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And we're doing an episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. So we're talking about one of Guns N' Roses' biggest songs, and that song is Patience off their record GNR Lies. And of course, it was released as a single back in 1989, and the song actually peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. And the song is played using 3 acoustic guitars and was recorded in a single session by Appetite for Destruction producer and User Illusion producer Mike Klink. And a music video was actually shot and appears on the band's DVD, Welcome to the Videos. And of course, the song was also featured on their live album, which came out back in 1999, and it was also featured on the Greatest Hits album, which came out in 2004. Both the music and lyrics were actually written by Izzy Stradlin, and even though Steven Adler was a member of the band while the song was recorded, he doesn't actually play on the recording of the song. However, when the song would actually be played live, he would actually do some percussion in the background. Now, some people think that the song is actually written about Axl Rose and his relationship with his now ex-wife Erin Everly, though this has never been stated in the album or any interviews that the band members have done. Others think that because Izzy actually wrote the song is actually written about Izzy's ex-girlfriend Angela Nicolti McCoy. So in Duff's autobiography that he wrote in 2011, he said Axl came up with a great idea for Patience, seemingly out of nowhere, that had immediately become the story and melody of the song. The whistle part at the beginning was another ballsy and unusual move by Axl. The song wouldn't be the same without it. Patience quickly became one of my favorite GNR songs to play live. And in a Seattle Weekly post that Duff did in October of 2010, he talked a bit more about the song. So he said, Del James was an avid reader and turned me onto a book called Slugs by Sean Hudson. I remember just sitting in my bedroom and my dining room with the curtain pulled. There were drugs aplenty then, and Valium was the drug of the month at that particular point. I remember Izzy's little ditty, which at that point had been a working title of Patience, and I wrote a lyrical verse that went, I sit here doing drugs, reading a book about slugs. All I need is a little patience. That horrible lyric never made it past my apartment front door, thank God. So in 1988, Duff did an interview with Steven Adler, and he talked about how there's 2 versions of Patience. He said it's funny, there's actually 2 versions of that song. Izzy wrote the verse, humming the verse with help from Steven, and I wrote the part at the end, a little patience, yeah. Okay, so that came together like that, and we had it. We never really rehearsed it, we kind of just started playing it live, and there's another version of it that I have. I used to have an 8-track recorder. The Patience that's on that is about a girl and is really sweet and nice. I have another version that is more of a comedy thing, you know. It was when I lived in this apartment with these people, and we're doing drugs and shit. We sit there and it's kind of comedic. It's like you sit there and you just need a little patience. Your roommate takes a shit and forgets to flush. All you need is a little patience. Yeah, that song just came together, and the only way we rehearsed it was actually, let's play it live. We wrote it, Steven, Izzy, myself, rehearsed it in the studio, but we only rehearsed it like once, and then the next time we played it live in front of 20,000 people or something. And Duff also said in his book that as we develop songs, we put a lot of emphasis on anything that veered away from the main melody. We all felt that diverging from a good tune was the only justifiable way if the other part was just as good. That meant we rejected cookie-cutter songwriting that demanded bridges for bridges' sake and strictly delineated between verses and choruses. Instead, we only went places we really felt strongly about. There's a reason the codas in songs like Rocket Queen, Paradise City, or Patience sound so distinctive. We didn't feel compelled to add them. We were just so excited about certain ideas that working together day after day, we found ways to incorporate them. And Slash has talked about the song as well in his autobiography, which came out in 2007. He said, Axl is so prolific lyric-wise and has such a heartfelt sense of melody that combined with Izzy's songwriting skill and Duff and myself, creating great guitar parts was easy, so we'd have amazing songs in no time. Izzy and Axl had such great chemistry because Axl knew how to transform one of Izzy's simple structures into a perfect, well-rounded, melodically and lyrically rich song. A great example is Patience. Axl really elevated that song of Izzy's into something else entirely. Slash also said, I know one song in particular, Patience, where Axl hits a certain vocal that gives me chills and it affects me playing when that goes by, and it happens every single night when we play it. So he said that in June of 1992 when Guns was on the User Illusion tour. And the final thing that Slash actually said about the song is that it's a ballad. It's mainly penned by Izzy Stradlin in an interview he did back in 1988. And Axl has talked publicly about the song as well. really only during the early 90s. So he said, when I sang the song, it was the first time I ever sang it. Izzy basically wrote most of the words except for the ending part, and then Slash and Duff got on in it, rearranging and rewriting parts of it, music parts, guitar parts. One reason the song was written about needing patience and having a lack of it is Duff's written his version of Patience. It's kind of a comedy version which may be out in some time, and Izzy has a new song, Double Talk and Jive Motherfucker, because I got no more patience. If you guys ever bought the UK 12-inch vinyl, there was actually an interview with Axl Rose on it from May of 1989 where he's being interviewed, I believe, by Del James. And in that interview, he actually references the lyrics to Double Talk and Jive. So the song, while it didn't come out until the Illusions records, was obviously written around that time. So Tesla guitarist Frank Hannon had later implied that Guns N' Roses had copied Tesla's earlier work, stating that a demo by Tesla called Better Off Without You was Patience note for note. Hannon later backtracked on his blog saying that the song is a great song that they wrote themselves, and it is only the end part that has any similar part to the guitar chords we used. I apologize for any controversy or disrespect I may have projected in my joking around with Eddie Trunk about this. Let's talk about the video for Patience. So the video was directed by Nigel Dick, and it was one of many produced by the band, of course. And the video that was actually released for Patience is the last video in which Steven Adler appeared, even though of course he didn't play on the recorded track. And it's the last before the Use Your Illusion videos started coming out. And the video was actually shot in several different places. So the video was shot in the Ambassador Hotel, which was famous because that's where Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in 1968. So the Ambassador Hotel was actually closed in 1989 to guests, but it remained open for filming and private events, and a liquidation sale of the hotel's contents was conducted in 1991 by the National Content of Liquidators based in Ohio. Now, Donald Trump proposed in 1989 to build a 125-story building, the world's largest, and he entered a protracted legal fight with the LA Unified School District, who eventually won and developed a badly needed school in the general business district area of Wilshire Boulevard. Many were surprised that such a historic building did not receive the status to be historically preserved when a building was to host every U.S. president from Eisenhower to Nixon. So on January 16, 2006, the last section of the Ambassador Hotel was demolished, with demolition first beginning in 2005. And the actual live performance shots that you see in the video was actually shot in LA at a studio called The Record Plant. And filming actually took place on Valentine's Day in 1989, and even in the music video you can actually see producer Mike Klink in the background as well. And in the later part of the music video you can actually see a reference to the Welcome to Jungle video where Axl is actually just sitting on the couch. Now let's talk about the live versions of the song, or any notable live versions or events that have happened. Now, the live version that appears on Live Era is thought to have been from two different performances. So, in 1993, Guns N' Roses launched the Skin and Bones tour, where they would play, an acoustic section during the middle half of their concert. So it's thought that the first half of Patience on Live Era is taken from the Skin and Bones tour. Some people think it's from Paris of '93, or it's from Mexico City of '93. And then the second half of the song appears to be from either 1991 or 92. Some people speculate it's from the Paris 92 show, just because the arrangement's different than how they used to play it on the Skin and Bones tour. And when Guns would play Patience in 91 and 92 on the Use Your Illusion tour, Slash would actually have a pretty amazing extended solo towards the later part of the song. Unfortunately, that's something they haven't really continued with on this reunion tour. And even Matt Sorum would be playing a lot more drums as well. So I really recommend you guys go check out the Paris 92 show, or even any show from 91 or 92 where they play Patience. That's got to be one of my favorite Slash solos. So the first time they ever played Patience live was at a gig that the Guns did on October 30th, 1987 at CBGB's. And you guys can actually check out the live performance. I've linked to it down below. And Patience has been a pretty standard song at all of Guns N' Roses shows. Although if you've been watching some of the reunion shows going on this past year or so, they tend to play Patience in the encore, and they'll switch it out with Don't Cry. So one concert they'll play Patience, the next one they'll do Don't Cry, and there's been the odd time where they've played both Don't Cry and Patience together in the encore. And the song was performed live at the 1989 American Music Awards, but one member actually missing from the performance was Steven Adler. So Guns N' Roses had Eagles member Don Henley actually fill in on drums, and here's what Don Henley had to say about the experience. And he also talked about having Axl Rose sing on his album as well. One notable performance of Patience that Guns did before the reunion was actually at Rock in Rio in 2011. It was a pretty wet concert, a lot of rain, And you could tell during the actual song that Axl was, not having a good night, and even said he had no patience, and he kind of seemed lost in the song. So I've linked to that performance down below. And the song has been performed live also by Velvet Revolver back, when they were a band from 2004 to 2008. And it's also been performed by Slash and Miles Kennedy. Probably the best known instance is the Maiden Stoke concert that Slash recorded and put out, as well as an acoustic gig that he did with Miles Kennedy as well. And the song has also been covered by Maroon 5 and John Mayer, and there's some clips of them playing the song live, which I've linked to down below. The song's also been covered by Aaron Lewis of Stained as well. And the song's been featured in movies and TV shows. So in 1991 it appeared in the movie Cape Fear, as well as the 2016 show Dead of Summer, and the comedy/horror film Warm Bodies from 2013. And finally, I want to talk about where the song ranks on the Best War Song list. So on spin.com they ranked it number 7 out of 80 or so songs. I don't know if it's in my top 10. I do love the Paris at 92 or any 91, 92 performance of the song. Just that Slash guitar solo is amazing, and I always love the live outro they also perform too, where they have just a lot more percussion in it as well. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the contents of this video, and please be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do, and be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links to my social media channels are down below.